What's up, everybody?
Yo.
Hey, guys, it's Wes, Hank, and Andy. And we are back once again with our latest episode of Fandom Power. This time it's apparently we're talking about seagulls.
Maybe.
Did you hear that?
Oh, yeah.
I did hear that.
Wow. I keep forgetting you live like by the ocean.
I do live by the ocean, and it's hot as balls in my apartment today. So the balcony doors
They're
open.
trying to get in to cool off.
Yeah.
I guess so, eh?
Oh, it's not cool in here. They usually dissipate. I can talk louder than seagulls most of the time.
That's fine.
I know it's a blaster show, kiddies, but
you know, I'm having a hard time not. I really want the new Obi-Wan saber.
oh
so
yeah,
bad.
yeah. The price
So
point
bad.
is a little mental. I'm
I'm willing to go. I'm willing to go third party if it looks screen accurate.
Absolutely. I don't know how you could have a kid who would want these and be able to deal with that. So I'm kind of glad that I'm an adult.
Oh, it sounds good too.
Yeah, it sounds.
Oh God, it looks so good. There was a comment the other day. I mean, San Diego Comic-Con was this weekend.
Yes, it was.
And there was discussion about they were talking about the Hasbro Force FX sabers, and I guess Jon Favreau had to come down to Hasbro and met with the lightsaber team and was marveling at how difficult they had a time making the Darksaber prop. And he's like, "Wow, you guys got this into like a functional thing."
Mm-hmm.
And so they took that as sort of a badge of honor that they were able to make the Darksaber the toy.
Good enough for Favreau.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very high quality item. I've got a few of I've got them all, and the Asajj Venturesses are really nice. They're of the new sort of caliber, but the ones that were coming out 10, 20 years ago, these things just killed them. This is the first of the line that has a rechargeable USB, so batteries are no longer. And I think they're going forward with that. And they just SDCC, is that what it is?
SDCC, yeah.
And it's already on Amazon. It's crazy because I saw it and I was like, oh, I want that for my birthday. The Vader saber. The Vader Force Effects, and it's August 1st, 2023. Already, you can buy it on Amazon pre-order.
Wow.
Just
just as a segue before we get into tonight's stuff, have you pre-ordered toys from Amazon before? Either of you?
Yes.
Yes, but short distance.
Do we talk about the reliability of Amazon on pre-orders?
I don't know.
I haven't gotten screwed yet. I did. You know what? I got screwed on.
I have.
Have you?
Yeah.
I got screwed by Entertainment Earth.
Amazon not getting enough, taking more pre-orders than they had allocations. It's not a new thing. So I tend to stay away from Amazon unless it's an in-stock item, because then mostly I can get it within a couple days, especially if Amazon's actually selling it.
Yeah.
Prime has been worth it, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, Prime Day was awesome. I mean, I probably wouldn't have pulled the trigger on the Boba Fett helmet there, just on the bottom of the screen. That's a sexy item too.
Nice.
Or the Darksaber. But Prime, even if it was negligible, seeing 20% off things, I always wanted that. So
so much going on over the weekend in terms of Star Wars and Marvel, and my God, so many other things like DC. I mean, a whole whack of trailers came out yesterday. We got Shazam, Fury of the Gods, Black Adam. We got the new She-Hulk trailer, which everybody's kind of talking about. No one can stop talking about Charlie Cox's return as Daredevil in She-Hulk, Attorney at Law.
Yeah, that last couple seconds caught me off guard, and I was like, no.
That's wicked.
Star Wars got an actor hired for the Acolyte.
Yes.
I can't think of her name.
Oh, I had it this morning.
Now, but she's
Hunger Games alumni.
Hunger Games, yeah. And already the fandom menace is in full swing.
Oh.
Guys, we haven't even gotten anything yet, and you're already.
She identifies as non-binary, and she's a person of color. Guaranteed, the toxic fandom's going to love it right off the hop.
Yeah. Listen, guys, it's Fandom Power. If you guys were tuned into the last episode, you are aware that we took a look not as deep a dive as we normally do with our review stuff, but we thought let's do something a little less, less crunchy and a little more just kind of fun. And we looked at, after the lightsaber episode, we thought let's talk about blasters. And so we did.
They're an intricate part of world building, and the way they build them, it does lend to that, real world feel. Having
revisited sort of the ray guns of science fiction and seeing some of the lineage that got us to where we are in Star Wars, I thought, listen, if we're gonna do a New Hope, then we should probably keep going and maybe look at some of the other films out there. So this week we're going in on The Empire Strikes Back. So this is our, I guess we'll call it the second part of a multi-part series, because how many films are there now in the saga? 9 saga films plus what?
Films and
two
standalone
stories. Yeah.
Right,
and then,
the Blasters of Clone Wars.
4 live action spin-offs.
Television series. Yeah. All right. Well, it is Fandom Power presents The Pew Pew Strikes Back, as we gonna take a look at the blasters of The Empire Strikes Back. Empire comes out in 1980. It's apparently Star Wars is going to be a thing.
Yep.
People like this space stuff. We should probably do more of that. And so they did. And surprisingly, to me anyway, at least on the research part of this, there's a lot more new stuff going on in this movie than I realized.
Well, the first one made money, so the studios would throw more money at the sequel. So they can do a bit more expansive stuff rather than just recycling the first one.
There is a certain amount of recycling in this, though, and we are going to touch on that.
Well, for continuity's sake, you do need a little bit.
There is. I mean, I've excluded the ones that are like I'm just going the E11, the Stormtrooper blaster. I didn't bring it up again this week because
standard issue.
There's no change. There's no difference to the one we saw in A New Hope. So why go over that one again?
True. Mm-hmm.
But I did bring up Han Solo's blaster.
It might change a bit.
Well, as we said last week, that thing changes all the time. We'll talk. That could be a whole show. I mean, Han Solo's blaster. But this is The Pew Pew Strikes Back. And if you are just watching now, if you did not catch part 1 of this series, let's just go back and revisit sort of the, where are we at here? The blaster basics. All right, guys, blaster basics. So essentially, now don't laugh at me because the science of Star Wars is serious stuff, folks.
Absolutely.
Again, you've got essentially two things going on here to make your Star Wars blaster work. You've got a gas and you've got a power source. And when the two of those items are mixed together in a component that is called the exciter, you get superheated plasma, which is then thrown out the barrel by magnetic induction. So essentially, all blasters function like a railgun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Like I said, it's going to be the blasters of the Empire Strikes Back. And fun fact, there were women in the trenches on Hoth. Did you know that?
I did not.
I did not know that either until I saw these behind the scenes photos. Man. Behind the scenes photos. You think you've seen it all. You think you're a fan, and then you see stuff you've never seen before.
Yeah.
And you kind of go, man, I don't know nearly as much as I think I do. That's going to come up again this week. Some behind the scenes photos, because they really do. They kind of peel the veil back or pull the veil back on, like I said, the things you thought you knew, and then you realize, oh, there were some other ideas going on at the time that maybe they used or didn't use.
Well, there was one that came out of San Diego Comic-Con that I did not know.
What's that?
There is a behind-the-scenes photo from A New Hope,
yep.
And Luke and Obi-Wan are in the land speeder on their way to Mos Eisley.
Oh, sure.
And there is a dude in a pair of pink boxer shorts sporting a boom mic. Well, somebody cosplayed him at San Diego Comic-Con.
No way.
Pink shorts guy.
Yeah.
Pink shorts guy's been a thing. He's up there with the ice cream maker dude from later on in Empire.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's good. Or the extra that got digitally edited out of the Mandalorian.
Jeans guy. At least somebody made an action figure for him first.
At least he tried to hide himself. He knew that he was like, I shouldn't be here when they're rolling. All right. So let's get right to it. I'm going to approach this one like we did with A New Hope. I'm going to try to start at the beginning of the movie, and we'll work our way through to the end, and we'll bring up all of the new blasters that come up.
Chronologically.
We might revisit some of the other ones that we've seen before, but only because they are tied to specific characters that we can't not talk about. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we get to our first one. Oh, I should get to our splash page. There's a quick look at everything we're going to take a look at tonight. Everything from one of Han Solo's 49, 26, 54. I don't know how many freaking blasters that man's had, but
he's a smuggler. He's got a case.
We're going to look at all the bounty hunter weapons. We're going to look at one unique piece that is not technically a blaster, but that is the grapple gun that Luke used to ascend up to the belly of the AT-AT.
Like that old movie.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get to it. This is an old familiar one here. We'll get to the oh dear Lord, where am I going here? We get to the oh wow, this is the DH-17. We did talk about this in the last episode because this was the one that was essentially the fleet trooper, the rebel trooper blaster. Was also carried by some of the Imperial, the military, particularly officers. In this movie, this one is carried by a lot of the troops that are out in the trenches, as well as, and I tried to get, it's so dark, it's very difficult to see. But on board the Executor, there's a couple of Imperial Navy troopers who are actually carrying them. What's interesting about those Navy troopers, too, we see them on the Death Star back in A New Hope. In Empire, they actually have the visors on their helmets down, which is kind of cool. I wish they'd had a clearer image of that because, man, it's a cool thing to look at. Of course, the DH-17, this one made by our friends over at Blast Tech, because I think that's the only company that makes guns in the Star Wars universe. Widely used by the Rebel Alliance, especially aboard starships where close quarter fighting was likely to take place. The blaster is based on a casting of British Sterling L23A3 9mm submachine gun. Well, here comes our first interesting point. So in A New Hope, they were definitely that. But it looks like the ones that are used in Empire are actually made from the Canadian variant. And you can tell the Canadian variant by the squared trigger guard. And it's a much bigger trigger guard as well. All right. So yeah, there's our Rebel troops. That's the Battle of Hoth. Of course, the other side of that is obviously the Empire, and of course, the standard issue of the Imperial Stormtrooper is, of course, the E11. God, I thought I said I didn't cover this. I guess I lied. I put this one together. It's rare that we go to air without having a break in between, and I was kind of ahead of the curve on this one. I had the slides done a couple days ago, so
nice.
All right. The E11, of course, was a medium-range rifle that was the standard issue of the Stormtrooper Corps. It is an evolution of the DC-15A blaster used by the Army of the Grand Republic. And just like the DH-17, the E11 is also based on the Sterling submachine gun. And, of course, with the famous addition of the Sherman tank gun sight, that's going to come up quite a bit in this episode. Apparently, they really like that sight.
Little add-ons.
They put it on a lot of stuff. In one case, I mean, they put like multiple, a few of them on.
Well, wasn't it Greedo's blaster in the last one that had multiple sights?
Yeah, no, Dr. Evazen's, his blaster, carbine, whatever, that you don't really, you see it laying on the floor with the arm cut off. Right. Leia fires this one. Lando fires this one. IG-88 is carrying one of these in his offhand. Oh, of course, he's a droid. So do droids have an offhand?
I wouldn't think so.
Depends on the programming.
Yeah, I suppose. Again, so the E11. All right, where are we at here now? Oh, this is an interesting one. This is the Blast Tech, the A280. This is the rifle that we saw down in the trenches with the rebels. It was the standard blaster rifle of the Rebel Alliance. It was widely used at both the Battle of Hoth and its variant, the A280C, was used by Rebel commandos at the Battle of Endor. And I know we're not really talking about Return of the Jedi tonight, but there's a couple points I had to bring it up because they're just too interesting not to keep them together. Now, this blaster, more than any of the other blasters that we're going to talk about tonight, has endured the most changes from Legends to the new Disney canon. So originally this was actually designated as the A295, and there's no clear reason why in the new canon why they changed the name to the A280. Nevertheless, though, through the Star Wars Battlefront 2 video game and its accompanying canon novel Twilight Company, that is the way it is. It is no longer the A295. It is the A280. And the funny thing is, we're supposed to believe that these two guns, the A280 and the A280C, are the same guns when really they're not. And that's where I'm like, oh, I can't not say that. I have to talk about that because the A280s that we see in The Empire Strikes Back are actually built. These are built from the casting of a World War II era German assault rifle, the STG-44. And then the A280C, which we're supposed to believe is the same rifle used by the commandos, is actually built off an old M16 platform. So you can see the lineage there, but they are the base guns. Yeah, they are absolutely not the same gun. One was made in America, one was made in Germany.
The A280C in the Battlefront game is a sniper variant.
Sure. It gets it's going to get a little bit more convoluted here because there are two more variations of this rifle. There's the 280 CFE. That's the convertible pistol that Cassian Andor uses. When you put the buttstock and the barrel extension on, it is a 280C or a 280 CFE. And then there's another shot of there's one of the rogues, one of the troopers, not any of the named cast, but a trooper by the name of dear Lord, what's his name? Private Yosh Califor. He uses an A300. So here's my point, though. We had the A295 back in Legends. The new canon comes along. We take the same gun and we rename it the A280. Then we add 3 more guns in that family, and for some reason we've skipped right over the 295 designation, went right to 300. Like, why wouldn't they just reuse the number on one of these other variants?
So as not to confuse people.
I don't know.
Does anybody else feel like they've fired all these weapons because of the Battlefront games? Just used to them all. I'm like, well, I know how that one kicks, and I
know how they handle.
It's funny. It's really funny.
Anybody else know what it's like to get fragged by a 10-year-old?
This one is spread. Yeah, yeah, right.
I will hand it to the Battlefield game, though. They really did. I did not play it heavily. I played it enough to know that I would never play it multiplayer because I just could not do it. But I agree. You did get sort of a feel for. I really enjoyed the sounds in that game. I felt very much.
I still play it quite a bit, and it's every gun is unique, and that's one of the coolest things about it is they all kind of react differently. They're different, good for different situations, or just having your favorite. Kind of fun to have a wide breadth.
A lot of the imagery that I used in last week's in our previous episode, and to some degree in this episode, those digital renderings, they're beautiful. Because they're easy to, they have the most detail. Some of the imagery that we used are from the video game. So not everything that we're going to look at tonight is screen used. All right, where are we going to next? Oh, okay, let's get this one right out of the way because we're still on Hoth, so let's talk about this bad boy right here. Han Solo and his Blast Tech DL44 heavy blaster pistol. Like you said before, the DL44 is considered to be one of the most powerful blaster pistols in existence, and that punch does not sacrifice any accuracy, which makes the DL44 one of the most popular guns with both government and private citizens. Now, this is not the first, not the second, but this is the third DL-44 that is used by Han Solo on screen. Yeah. All three of them are based on the Mauser C96 pistol. Now, the main difference in this one is that it does not have the vented muzzle like the hero prop from A New Hope. And it's not the Greedo Killer, because the Greedo Killer has the standard C96 barrel with like that, I don't know what you call it there, that, I don't know, that horn on the end. But yeah, so not the Greedo Killer, not the hero prop from A New Hope. This is a third DL-44. Now, that begs the question, does he just like these guns that he has an assortment of them, or are we supposed to believe that he's been tinkering back and forth with it?
Well, he tinkers with the Falcon, so why wouldn't he tinker with his weapon? Not? Yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah,
he carries this one throughout Empire, and I think he carries this one also in Jedi. By the time we get to The Force Awakens, he's gone back to a version of the hero prop from A New Hope. So yeah, I'm of the opinion that he just likes it enough that he's got a few of them.
Yeah,
that's
probably
cool.
Grabbed a case of them and keeps it aboard the Falcon.
We're talking about that Sherman tank sight that was on the E11 Stormtrooper blaster. It's the same one on this one.
Let's buy a bunch of them up. We'll use them.
Yeah. All right, here's a little fun fact for you guys. This, and when I say this, I mean the image that we're using tonight. This is the prop that we're talking about. This is a resin casting that was screen used, believed to be the one that was used in the scene, the dinner scene on Cloud City that Vader pulled from his hand. This blaster sold at auction in 2013 for $200,000 US.
Oh man,
yeah.
So what's that in now dollars? Like mil two?
I don't know. 2013, would it be that much?
Inflation.
I don't know what the appreciation is on that, but it was a lot. It was a lot. All right, let's we're still at Hoth here. The battle is raging all around us, and we get to touch in here with Luke Skywalker, who crashes his T-47 airspeeder. Uses the what is this here? This is Luke's grapple gun. There's no real designation for this, so I've just called it Luke's grapple gun. Luke Skywalker's grapple gun is a one-off prop with no canonical references. Couldn't find anything in the canon to really talk about what this is or where it's from. Like, it's not clear if it was part of the airspeeder. Like in an aircraft, if you have a crash, your airplane would have a crash kit.
Yes.
So I mean, there's no like, it's not clear. Is this part of the T-47's crash kit, or is this something that Luke packed himself?
It comes standard issue.
I don't.
Shark bat repellent.
Yeah. Maybe.
Just had it there.
I'm inclined to believe that it was packed in as part of the crash kit for the speeder, to be honest. But also, not a lot of great images for this that I could find online. The image that we're looking at of the grapple gun is actually the accessory from the Hot Toys action figure.
Nicely done, sir.
Now, this is a cool one. I mean, I really like this. I think it's super cool. The grappler is actually based on an old British flamethrower handle. The life buoy style flamethrower. The life buoy gets its name because the round tank that the soldiers had to wear on their back looked like a life ring, like that you would throw in the water.
Yeah,
life buoy. Yeah. Here's your fun fact for the grapple gun. This unit, the life buoy flamethrower, carried 18.2 liters of fuel. It had a maximum range of 36.5 meters. Or 40 yards, meaning that it could actually hit the belly of an AT-AT, because the AT-AT is only like what? It's not that tall. What are we getting here today? We got we've got just a crazy no nonsense comment from Twitch coming in, who's just trying to spam us. Not even going to give you the
No 15 minutes for you.
Nope, not even 2 seconds for you.
Moving on.
Yes. On to our next one. Look familiar?
Yes.
Okay, let me just go back here a couple seconds because we just looked at this. This is Han Solo's DL-44 that we just talked about.
Right.
And this is not a DL-44.
No.
This is the Mercen Model 57.
Maybe it's like iPhone and Samsung.
Well, yeah,
stole the design.
we're gonna steal from everybody. We talked about this in the last episode that Mercen, the company, had actually knocked off the DL-44 several different ways. This is one of them. The Mercen 57 is a heavy pistol. It was actually designed, knocked off to compete with the DL-44. Most of the success of this gun comes from the fact that it is a much lower powered version, which makes it legal as opposed to the DL-44, which is widely considered to be illegal in the Star Wars universe because it is just too powerful. All right, so visually...
so a bunch of politicians are carrying around illegal firearms?
All the time.
They're supposed to be moral.
There really is like almost no visual differences, like nothing discernible to like the casual fan between these two guns to set them apart.
Yeah.
The barrel might be a little bit shorter.
A little bit shinier.
But this one is also based on that German Mauser C96. Now, this one's kind of cool. Mark Hamill, this isn't the actual prop that he used, but the prop that he carried, believe it or not, Mark Hamill went on British television. He went on a show called Jim Will Fix It, where it's basically a kid's show that was focused on granting kids' wishes. And this young boy who's only identified as Daniel basically had wanted to have a picnic with Luke Skywalker. Aww. And so the show made arrangements in 1980 for Mark Hamill in costume to have a picnic with this kid, and they filmed it. And Mark Hamill gifted this pistol to that boy.
Aww.
Fast forward to 2016, and that pistol came up for auction. It had an opening bid of $200,000, and in I could not find any information for whether or not it sold. I could find the listing for the auction, but the listing said that there were no bids, and so it was either withdrawn or it just did not sell.
It's probably cheaper to buy a Mauser and modify it yourself.
Well, here's the thing: like, do you get a Mauser? Do you get a replica Mauser? Do you try and find like an airsoft version? Is there an airsoft version?
Maybe.
So even that, I mean, we've talked about Adam Savage's tested before.
Yeah.
They've talked about this. They've talked about doing a DL-44 build, and they were discussing how difficult it was to get a hold of even a replica, because you couldn't getting a real C96 was impossible.
Yeah.
Now even getting a replica was no easy feat.
Turn to the world of 3D printing.
Well, there is that too. But is the 3D... So here, I like 3D printing. I think it's awesome. It's made a lot of stuff that I think is super cool, way more accessible. Is a 3D printed blaster, does it have the same fidelity as something that's been put together, from the various pieces that, the prop makers have gone out and found, like the muzzle flash and getting the right scope and making sure that all the greeblies or the right electronic bits or the proper model kit pieces? Like, is there the same?
Nothing will ever, trump the original stuff for sure.
No.
But in terms of having an affordable, I could put this on my shelf and lie to my friends if I want. in terms of that, I think the tech is great because it like you said, it makes something so $200,000 inaccessible, makes it accessible to the average person. And I know it's on our short list of things to purchase, a 3D printer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. If you're interested in seeing that clip, by the way, the Mark Hamill clip with the young boy, it is on YouTube, and I've actually put the link to that video is in the description of this one, so you'll be able to check that out after you've watched this one.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. We're going to move on now. We're getting to where are we going here? Oh yeah, so we leave Hoth, and the heroes split up. Luke goes off to Dagobah, where everybody else runs off to Cloud City. This brings us to the Relby K23. This is another one from Blastech, also referred to as the Stinger pistol. This one was carried by the Bespin Wing Guard. Now, according to Legends lore, The bolts from the Stinger pistol had a minimal dispersion, which resulted in excruciating pain when someone was hit with one. It was also known to have a faulty safety mechanism. Now, the Relby K23 is made from a Nemrod Galian pneumatic spear gun.
Nice.
Yeah, literally made out of a spear gun that they basically cut down, and they added some extra greeblies to. Nemrod Industries was formed in Spain in 1945 and exclusively manufactured diving spear guns. First spring-loaded ones, and then they advanced to pneumatics in 1953. Between 1970 and 1980, they were actually one of the largest manufacturers of diving gear, but after a period of decline, the brand disappeared in 1990. Never to be seen again.
Wonder if Jaws had anything to do with that.
I don't know. No, maybe.
Scared a lot of people out of the ocean.
Dude, scared me in my swimming pool in the backyard. I can't go swimming alone because if I can't turn my head around and look behind, oh no.
I don't like toilets.
So you talk about the greeblies here for a second. This one was kind of neat. Some of the dressing on this, they are model kit parts. Some of them are a V8 car engine, parts off of an F4 Phantom jet, and that thing on the side with the 3 holes in it, that's a plastic coffee stir stick.
I love it. I love
high
the
end to
genius.
low end.
Yeah.
Whatever works.
I think it's cool.
It's definitely one of the more I don't know, sci-fi-ish looking models.
Does this not harken back to kind of Flash Gordon?
The ray gun, yeah.
It reminds me of the Phantom Menace pistols, like those holdout blasters, the silver ones.
Padme's little blaster pistol. All right. Well, Cloud City, we get our first. I guess we get a look at this guy.
Oh yeah.
It's our man Boba. Boba sporting the EE3 carbine. It's a short, lightweight carbine. This one is capable of single shots as well as burst fire. It was designed for law enforcement and private security forces, but the low price and high performance made it popular with certain other professions. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Now, according to Legends lore, the EE3 was actually modeled after the E11.
Yeah,
it's a Stormtrooper blaster.
Yeah, it's like an in-universe modification.
Well, this brings me to what we talked about this earlier.
This is
in the
not
week.
based on the same out-of-universe weapon at all.
Right. Well, the EE3, first of all, and there's 2 versions, and I've put them up. I've put them both up here because it is more than just a simple. Oh, did we get a repaint?
That's what we had talked about in the chat earlier. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
right. It's almost a completely different gun.
It's the same base gun, but the dressings are just so much different, right?
Drastically.
The EE3 is based on the Webley and Scott #1 Mark 1 37 millimeter flare gun. Now, these flare guns were manufactured between 1914 and 1918, specifically for the Royal Flying Corps. And after World War I, many of them were sold as surplus to various police agencies in the United States. For The Empire Strikes Back, Boba's EE3 is dressed with a Highland flash handle as a muzzle. Highland flash handle, Andy, I think you know a little bit about those.
A little bit, yeah.
You have a Highland flash handle. We were talking about that on the lightsaber episode.
That's awesome.
Strangely enough, it's
multi-purpose.
Yeah, it makes a muzzle. A Highland flash handle, as well as a 4x20 rifle scope of Japanese make. And there are several Japanese scopes out there that sort of fit the bill for which one this is. So I can't tell you specifically what the maker is on that. Now, you get to the Return of the Jedi version, and it's got the same T-rails as the Skywalker lightsaber. It's got the same scope, but now the scope has been lowered. It's been pushed back on the barrel, and believe it or not, it's been mounted backwards. They've turned it around. Is this going back to the Han Solo thing? I know I asked you earlier in the week, Hank, if there was a that you knew of in the comic books. Is there a canonical explanation for why the change between Empire and Jedi?
And I couldn't find anything. I know that he's always tinkering with his gear, so
Yeah.
and at the time I had sort of just blanket statements that he probably just painted it, but it's way more than a painting, clearly. And like we know he's constantly working on his armor, right?
Yep.
You know that he's updating it, he's painting it, he's fixing it, blah blah blah. So it would make the same sort of sense that he's always working on his ship. He's always working on, and it lends itself to like that idea that he's like a loner, and he's got to customize his gear himself, and he's very, he's a master of his own weapons, his own ship, his own armor.
Oh, yeah.
It sort of lends that. I'd be curious though. Did you guys cover? Because I was out of the fold obviously last week.
Yeah.
Which version of this is he rocking in the special edition of A New Hope?
That's a good question. That is a very good question. You know what? We've got time. Let's take a look at that.
Yeah, check it out.
I'm gonna bring up. Let's see if I can get a screen grab of that.
I can't navigate away.
That's okay. You stay where you are. I'm gonna look this up right now. Boba Fett. New Hope.
Because he's like literally holding it in the scene, right?
That's true. That's very true. Special edition.
So we can see if he kind of switches back and forth.
I'm very curious to see what the result is on that. Ha. Okay. Well, lo and behold, it is. I'm going to see if I can find a large image of this. Let me see if I can save that image. Bear with me for a second here, folks.
Live editing, baby.
This is a live show, everybody. Bear with me while I throw this up here into a new window. I'm going to throw that over there, and I'm going to share that screen. Let's go share screen. Let's go tab. Here we go, everybody. There's the one that he's hanging on to in the special edition. Now, to me, that's the Jedi version. Yeah,
it does. Yeah,
man. Huh. So there's a practical reason, and it's not, this isn't written in stone, but practically speaking, the idea was that they knew that this weapon was going to feature a whole lot more in Return of the Jedi than it did in Empire, that there were going to be like serious close-up shots, particularly when Luke cuts the barrel off. And so they wanted to have like a hero prop.
Right. That. Yeah. And there's if they did less sort of work to the original weapon for, they might've added that fancy barrel just for that scene where it gets cut off.
Maybe. But it's become the default. I mean, man, I don't have an action figure in front of me. I couldn't even tell. I have the wave. I have the wave one. I have the wave one Boba Fett Black Series figure, all the way back from what, 2013,
somewhere in there.
I'd be curious to know what he's carrying, because I actually think it's that. Oh,
throwing his jetpack.
You guys see that?
Oh, so that's the Jedi one as well.
It is the Jedi one.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting. I didn't want to spend like a whole lot of time on it, but it was like, wait a minute, there's enough here to talk about that you have to look at them and go, wait a minute, one of these things is not.
And so
like
the other question, I guess, for me now is, if we want to do some more live editing, is what is he rocking in the Book of Boba Fett?
It's absolutely the Jedi one.
It is the Jedi one.
And I think it's actually got a different colored, I think it's got more of a wood tone on the buttstock.
Right.
There we go. Let's see.
Real world explanation. They probably lost it between the two.
That's entirely possible.
Well, because Cobb Vanth doesn't have his weapons, right? He just has the armor.
Just the armor.
He's not rocking the Relby. The Relby must have been in Slave 1. Or, sorry, the EE3. Got my gun mixed up with Bosk.
Well, that's not a great photo because you can't really see it. That's too small. Yeah, it is absolutely the Jedi version, but there's some minor differences here. It is a very much a wooden. It's not painted black. It's definitely wood tones on the buttstock.
Right.
And the scope seems to have moved
which
forward
is more
again.
Reminiscent of the Empire. It looks like a wood stock in the Empire. Version.
It really does. Yeah. Well, there you go. That is your EE3 carbine. Man, we do see it again in canonically one of the bounty hunters is carrying one in Clone Wars.
Hmm.
And it's almost like there's a callback because the barrel gets cut off by a lightsaber. All right, we're moving on here. Let's move on. All right, if we're going to talk about bounty hunters, we might as well stay with the whole clan here and start talking about the other guys. Man, sometimes movie making or prop making can be pretty downright lazy. And this is one of those cases where, yeah, it's pretty lazy.
Yeah.
This is the Vulcan 38. The Vulcan 38 is the gun that was carried by Dengar. And oh my gosh, where am I here? Yeah, so the yes, used by the bounty hunter Dengar, who carried it in his hunt for the Millennium Falcon, as well as a bunch of other things. The Vulcan 38 is based on the German MG42 machine gun. That machine gun went into production in 1942, and it was intended to be a cheaper and easier weapon to produce as a replacement for the MG34, which we saw in last week's episode. That was the Sand Trooper blaster, and we're going to see it again this week because somebody else is carrying one.
Iggy.
For the Empire Strikes Back, it appears that Dengar's Vulcan 38 is nothing more than an all-black MG42 with nothing but the bipod and the front sight removed.
Yeah. Just run over to the World War II lockers and grab something.
That's right.
This guy doesn't look tough enough.
Old guns.
Yeah.
Well, they're spending all that time revamping Boba Fett's and stuff.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, for me, for when I was a kid, it was really when the guns started to be different. Like, you know, I think maybe there was 3 because Luke and at least the pilot Luke and Han both came with the DL-44 looking thing.
Yeah, that's right.
The Power 57 is very close in canon anyway, but
yeah,
you know, and then you had the little E11s, and then you had the. But it was really when you got to the bounty hunter line.
They had different guns, yeah.
And I mean, and they were spot on. They were very close. Anyway,
IG-88 more than anybody else, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent, you know, weapons and stuff. And then, you know, there was Admiral Akbar's stick.
Return of the Jedi. Everybody traded in their guns for sticks.
For sticks. Nadine gets a stick. Perfect.
So early production images actually showed Dengar carrying an MG42 with the butt removed. But for actual production, they put it back on. All right. And then fast forward to 2017's Star Wars Battlefront 2, we're introduced to the Vulcan 38X. And you know what? It was interesting enough that I thought, hey, let's do a bonus slide. Speaking of the Vulcan 38X, here's the Vulcan 38X, which, hey, just like what was the previous one there that we looked at? This one is an amalgamation of 2 different real-world guns that are put together. This one uses the barrel from the aforementioned MG42 with the bipod, but it uses the receiver and the buttstock from the German FG42 automatic rifle.
That handle is really swooped back,
isn't it? Though, yeah.
The
FG42 was made in 1942. It was exclusive to German paratroopers. Yeah, used right up to the end of World War II.
That'd be a heavy weapon to jump with. Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Automatic rifle, not a machine gun, though, I guess.
No, yeah.
It still looks cool. I'm surprised that the Battlefront 2 game, like, where did they get, like, they must have had access to stuff that we don't know about.
Of course. Because,
I mean, this is a Vulcan 38, and yet so is this. They're not the same. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely.
Is it a case of we just couldn't get access
Dengar's
to
not even a playable character, so you don't even have the Vulcan in Battlefront 2 at least, right? So
yeah. All right. Well, we're going to stick with Dengar because, hey, why not? We're still with him. We talked about this last week in our Ponda Boba slide.
Yes. So
Dengar is carrying a sidearm, and this is a case of, like, this is maybe one of the most famous Star Wars guns you've never saw. Because it just doesn't show up. But if you know where to look, it's there, right? This is the DL-21. This is another one from Blast Tech. It is a standard blaster pistol that uses a flared muzzle to create a scattered energy charge like a modern shotgun. Ugh. The DL21 is cut down from the Armalite. It's a cut down Armalite AR-7 Explorer rifle. This is a 22 caliber takedown rifle that was marketed as a survival gun for campers and backpackers because of the compact size. When broken down, the receiver, the magazine, and the barrel could all store inside the buttstock. Right. And for Star Wars, the gun was fitted with the tail section of a British 2-inch mortar round.
Oh,
that's how you get that flared back end of it.
Yeah, I see it now.
Yeah. So Ponda Boba carried one of these holstered in the cantina scene, as I said in our last episode. If you go back and watch that sequence with Ponda Boba and Cornelius Evazan up against the bar, you can see that on his hip. And you can see the behind the scenes photos. There's a test shot when they still had Ponda Boba with his flipper hands. They used a flipper hand in the cutoff arm, and that is the blaster laying on the floor. It's also Dengar's sidearm.
Wonder if it's the same blaster reused. Just throw that in the holster.
So Ponda Baba's DL21 has a different handle.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we had a photo of that in our in last week's episode.
Yeah, go back and check it out, folks.
All right, moving on. We're going to stick with the bounty hunters, though. Moving on to IG-88, and there he is. This time it's the Blastech, the DLT-20A. Yet another long blaster used by the Galactic Empire as well as some private citizens. Bounty hunter droid IG-88 carried the pulse cannon version of this, the DL-20A, in addition to an E-11 blaster rifle. These pulse cannons were the preferred weapon of many sharpshooters during the Galactic Civil War. Now, according to Legends lore, the DLT-20A was one of few blasters with a magnetic adhesion grip, which made it difficult to disarm from the wielder.
Especially if that wielder
was
if
made
your wielder's a
metal.
droid. How cool is that?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
All right. Well, this one takes some cues from the Vulcan 38X that we just looked at, in the sense that there's another one that they've cobbled together from two completely different weapons and said, okay, Star Wars gun. Although likely it's a casting, because the barrel on that machine gun would never fit on that rifle.
Make it fit.
Yeah. This time it's the receiver from the German STG-44, which we've already seen in the Rebel blaster.
Yep.
So the STG-44 assault rifle and the barrel from the famous Browning 30 caliber M1919 machine gun, as well as some other embellishments and a scope. Embellishments that I couldn't really identify. Hey, fun fact here. Legends fan favorite character Dash Rendar apparently carried one of these.
Crazy.
Can't find an image of him carrying one, but apparently he did. All right. What do we got here? We got one more bounty hunter. We got two more bounty hunters we're going to talk about. All right. This is the Relby V10 mortar gun that is carried by the Trandoshan bounty hunter Bosk, also known as the Relby V10 micro grenade launcher. Was a simple lightweight weapon of capable of delivering a micro grenade cartridge with pinpoint accuracy up to 200 meters. The weapon worked on a magnetic ring system to propel the grenade, and it was virtually silent, making the Relby V10 a popular stealth weapon.
100% my favorite weapon in Battlefront 2.
Is it?
Oh, yeah. I love playing Bosk. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So not only did Bosk carry one of these, but his father, Kradosk, also carried one of these. Now, this one is based on the Webley Shermuley multi-purpose gun. This was a riot gun, 37 millimeter break open riot gun, capable of firing a variety of munitions, which included obviously gas grenades, but with an insert, it could actually fire shotgun rounds. Yeah. It was made by the British during the 1960s and is still used today in some countries. Now, we're talking about that Sherman tank gun sight. Yeah, they put two of them on here.
Can't go
There's
wrong.
two of them on there.
See twice as good.
All right. Again, I didn't want to bring up a lot of stuff that we'd already talked about, but I thought, you know what, why not? Only because you can't not talk about the bounty hunters. This is the DLT 19. This is the Sand Trooper. One of the Sand Troopers carried these back in A New Hope. But for LOM, the droid bounty hunter is also carrying one of these. DLT 19 heavy blaster rifle was used by the Galactic Empire, carried by heavy weapons stormtroopers. It offers far heavier firepower than the standard E11. And this is basically the MG34.
Yeah. Painted
black.
Another one of those lazy builds.
I see an old gun and I want it painted black.
Painted black. Which makes it really difficult to try and come up with fun stuff to talk about, because it's like, wow, they just really kind of went, I'm done. Yeah.
It's kind of an ebony or a midnight black.
Well, so here's the thing. Now, I don't know where this stands in the canon right now, but at one point it was said that now whether I don't know if this is all DLT 19s or just the one that Forlom uses, but it is said to be able to fire electromagnetic pulses on top of regular blaster bolts.
Ooh.
So I guess that's kind of cool if you're a
handy
droid,
against droids or tanks or ground tech.
Or if you want to bring in your target alive.
That's entirely true. Yeah. All right, and then that brings us to, the weirdest one of the entire. Notice there's no real world counterpart for this. It's because nobody knows. All right, we're looking at the GRS-1 snare rifle. This is the one carried by Zuckuss. It is a non-lethal weapon that caused absolutely no damage. Instead, the GRS-1 fired a stun or a shock spray, as well as a liquid spray net to immobilize any targets. Now, for Empire, the GRS-1 was likely a custom one-off prop. It uses an unidentified bolt-action rifle, as well as some kind of fixed rifle magazine. But there's also an unidentified pistol magazine seated right in front of it that nobody seems to be able to identify. Certainly not me. I'm not a gun guy, so... I have no idea what this is made from. The people over at the Replica Prop Forum, who are a wealth of knowledge, don't really know what it's made out of either. In fact, this photo actually comes from one of their builds. And one of the comments I read over there was, I've pretty much decided that I can make it from whatever I want, and it will still be okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Cobbled together from leftovers.
Yeah. I thought it'd be cool to put these two up side by side. Remember when the Kenner toy line came out and Zuckuss and Forlom, their names got reversed?
Yep.
So I put them up here together because it's cool to note that the LOM protocol droids were actually made to look like their servant race, which is the Gand species of which Zuckuss is a Gand. They were meant to serve his species. So no surprise, they team up quite a bit.
Did you pick up the 2-pack with the cards?
I did not.
Original misnaming on the cards?
I did not.
There's a couple more I can't open, for God's sakes.
Boy, you're gonna have a real hard time if we decide to do a bunch of toy openings.
I've already filmed 2 that I'm gotta edit together, but
cool, very cool.
That unboxing thing.
Very cool.
I did the Darksaber and the Boba Fett helmet. So
all right, nice. Well, guys, this has taken us through the Rebels, the Imperials, all of the bounty hunters. We're pretty much at the end of the list of all of the stuff that you probably expected to see, but you guys want another bonus?
Yes.
All right.
Bonus.
This is one that comes right out of the same vein as our slide with Ponda Boba from last week's episode. Do you guys remember the Star Wars customizable card game?
Oh, yes. Do I? Yeah.
So it ran from 1995 to 2001. In the December 1999 expansion pack, what was it called? It was called Cloud City Enhanced. This card showed up in that expansion pack, and that's Lando Calrissian. Clearly, he's at Cloud City, and it shows him carrying a blaster pistol that we never see him carry in the film. We don't see it in the film. So unlike Ponda Baba, who like, yes, we know he doesn't really carry it, but if you look at the right scene, he's actually carrying it, even though it's not the gun laying on the floor.
Yeah.
This gun does not show up in Empire at all.
Hmm.
However, if you think it looks familiar to you, anybody?
It looks Blade Runner-y to me.
Well, wait for it. If you think you've seen this gun before, you did, because it's the same gun that General Calrissian would carry in Return of the Jedi.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So, and that's like what, 3 years later?
The fleet officer pistol. Crazy.
So this is the thing. There's no designation for this gun. There's no like, alphanumerical designation. The best I could come up with is it's just referred to as the fleet officer pistol. The fleet officer pistol is essentially has no canonical or legend reference info at all, but it is based on Heckler and Koch P9S, which is a 9mm pistol that was produced between 1969 and 1978. And that, my friends, is a look at the blasters of The Empire Strikes Back.
Pew, 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 pew.
You guys like this content, please do let us know. Hit us up in the comment section of our videos, whether it's over on YouTube or here on Facebook, Twitter, or any of the other places that we stream to. There's a good chance we're going to keep this rolling. We've got several films to comb through, and I don't know. Do you guys like this? Do you guys like doing this?
It's neat
seeing the real world comparison to the fictional.
There's potential for a one show that's not Star Wars, because we're not just a Star Wars show, but there's a potential to get into the sci-fi web, like I do a blanket show.
Yeah.
Sort of pick, because like I just said, that Blade Runner gun, which I know is supposed to be Earth 2019, but
which is also the most the most as a film prop. It is the highest selling sci-fi prop, I think, in history.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah. I'll have to find the number, but it's big. It is big. We did talk about sort of the evolution of sci-fi weapons in our last episode. I mean, we could have picked on any one of those and spent more time with it, but I mean, we do a lot of Star Wars here. So I mean, if this is something that you guys like, and Hank and Andy, if you enjoy doing this with me, I'm more than happy to keep going. We'll do another one. I guess we're up to what? It'd be Return of the Pew Pew.
Return of the Pew Pew. Excellent. I'm down.
I almost feel like we shorted it. We cheated ourselves out of a name for the first one by using the blaster story. Oh, it's okay. We'll make up for it. All right, guys. Well, listen, I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything you want to close on?
No, it's a great idea, and it realistically was sparked by a fan. Who was just tell us about lightsabers. You guys ever do that? And we're like, okay, yeah, sure, let's do it. I mean, and this has the potential to. I mean, let's talk about ships. Let's talk about the ground transports. So we could go absolutely crazy in just the tech, the tech. Absolutely. Utility belts episode, guys.
All right. Well, listen, guys. That's it for me here at Fandom Power. So we'll be back soon. I don't know when, but we'll be back soon. We'll see you on the next video. So until then, my name is Wes.
I'm Andy.
I'm Hank.
We'll catch you on the next one, guys. Bye for now.